herself, the way that she's able to be governed, but also over her own body and the healthcare choices she makes in the future.
Well, I'm so happy and excited that you two were able to make it for the opening of the show. We got 2 minutes left, and Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez, I want to give you a minute, and then I want to give another minute to our friend Lieutenant Governor Flanagan to close this segment out.
So, number one, thank you so much for having me. And I couldn't agree with Lieutenant Governor Flanagan more. I'm a nurse by background, and the thought of having a national abortion ban, which is what Trump wants to implement, there will be no safe place for women to go. And that is terrifying to me as a clinician. We know that reproductive health care is health care. And that's what Vice President Harris is really fighting for. And I would say anybody who's out listening there right now, make sure you are registered to vote. Make sure you've got a plan to vote, and talk to your friends and neighbors. Have those difficult conversations. Talk to them about what's on the line, because it is going to be so important this November.
Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, you're up.
This is the candidate who is all about freedom, our freedom to make our own decisions, to live the life that we want to live, to love who we want to love. And I am so excited, and you can feel the energy, right? 170,000 volunteer shifts, $200 million in donations. Get on this train. Indian country is so important to this election. And I know that we are going to turn up and turn out. Last night was just an example of it. We've got 98 days to get her across the finish line.
Thank you to Big Peaney so much for being on and starting out this show. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Oh, that was Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and Rodriguez. We'll be right back.
Indigenous communities are on the front lines of air pollution. Pipelines, mines, and waste incinerators are often built near our homes, harming Mother Earth and our health. The result? Higher rates of asthma, diabetes, heart disease, and other serious health problems. In the Twin Cities, air pollution disproportionately affects Native and Black communities. Indigenous Minnesotans, especially in the metro, experience over twice the rate of asthma compared to white Minnesotans. This pollution affects our quality of life and the future of our children. In Minneapolis, our vote helped close the Smith Foundry and bituminous roadways. Let's continue using our vote to fight for climate justice. Make voting a tradition, or MVAT, empowers Native communities by increasing voter turnout and supporting conversations about critical issues like clean air, water, and health. By getting involved, we shape the policies that protect our families and environment. Find your nearest polling location at sos.state.mn.us. Let's make voting a tradition for future generations.
This November, we have a clear choice for who's truly fighting for our Indigenous communities in Minnesota. Democrats created the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force, made college tuition free for Native scholars, and legally affirmed our Native sovereignty. By signing co-stewardship agreements to manage federal lands, we return the lands of the Upper Sioux State Park to the Upper Sioux tribe, and over 11,000 acres back to the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwa. This November, vote for the party that stands with our community. Vote Democrat.
Paid for by the Democratic Farmer Labor Party.
For everything you need to know about voting in Minnesota, visit the Secretary of State's website at mnvotes.org. Find out where to vote, check registration status, and view sample ballots. Again, for all your voting information, go to mnvotes.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACD, in Minneapolis.
Hey, we have our friend Derek DeLille, manager of Making Voting a Tradition with Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. We are so happy to have you on. Welcome, as always. Hoa.
Oh, bonjour. Thank you for having me back again. Jawanung Benesi Indigo, Mushkazibing Nindun Jabai Dush, Gakabi Kong Indanungom, Mine gun Indo Dame. I said, Southern Spirit Bird is what the spirits know me as. My people are from Bad River, but I live in Minneapolis today, and I'm part of the Wolf Clan. I'm very happy to be with you today. I'm here in the beautiful, renovated Indian Center located in our American Indian Cultural Corridor. Coming at you live. I'm happy to be here, you guys.
Well, we are so happy to have you on, and we had a good start of the show. I saw you were in the bullpen listening to these two powerhouses, and what a way to start the show and get going and talking about making voting a tradition.
Yeah, I did catch a lot of what those great leaders are talking about, and their talking points are really getting a little bit more energized these days, and I love it. What we're seeing right here on the avenue and even into the reses, what we're feeling, let me say it that way, what we're feeling is a lot more energy and a lot more importance around voting. So maybe this isn't the best of times. I think it's a far cry from each other when you're talking about the left and the right. They are very far from each other right now. But I think for our program specifically, because of this energy, this is picking up really well, especially in Indian country.
Yeah, we were talking earlier with the two lieutenant governors and how Haley's generation, the Gen Zs, are really stepping forward and really excited with the vice president, and that makes me excited.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm picking up on a lot of energy. I have a few young ones myself in that age bracket, and there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of back and forth. There's people are at the table again, talking about this. They're on their couches. They're talking about things and what is important to us. And I've always said, if we can be at this table and we talk about our important things, everybody at that table gets to learn. And when we disperse, we go to different tables and we bring all of that knowledge that we gained from this table to the next one, and everybody branches out. And this is the way that we've always done business as Anishinaabe, as I am, but Turtle Island natives all across the board. This is how we do it. We talk, we deliberate, we find out what connects here to our hearts, what is real and what is truth for us. And if we get down and boil it down to that, I know from my observations, Turtle Island natives all across the map will vote very similar. And that's an exciting thing. So if we can get them out there, that's the key, is to make sure we get them out there to vote. Our votes are going to be very similar, and they're going to be, as Lieutenant Governor said, very impactful. We are strategically placed in very key states.
Absolutely. And we talked about this at the last presidential cycle, and how groups like Make Voting a Tradition had helped sign up over 9,000 new voters up in the north in the reservations. How big a deal that is, and how that affects local and national elections. And we do matter, and we're still here.
Yeah, a lot of our votes, when you talk about past elections, a lot of them are close. If you look back at the data, you can see plainly that there's slim margins. And like I was just mentioning, our votes are very similar. So if we can get out, and if we can get out there and vote, we're going to make an impact. And those slim margins, I attribute that to Indian country. Absolutely. In many cases, my coworker Jolene Jones would say, mention about Standing Rock. and there was a sheriff that didn't do so well in the Native people's eyes. And they were running for re-election shortly after Standing Rock happened. And the Natives got out and they voted and they made sure that things happened, and it didn't go the way that they planned. That was a swing vote, and we made that happen. So it's evidence that we can make things happen, and I believe we can make things happen on a large scale like this big election coming up.
Yeah, that was very insightful for you to say that, because we needed to get Stenik out of Hennepin County, and we really supported Dave Hutch, and our prayers are out for Dave because he's run into some personal problems, and we put tobacco out for Dave, and he'd been on Native Roots Radio many times, and the community did support him, and he had a lot of great things to do, and he was a polar opposite like what we're dealing with nationally with the presidential election. We do make a difference. I mean, Arizona, there's Michigan, there's these states that we may be 2-3% of the voting block, but we made a difference. We turned Arizona blue, meaning the natives.
Yeah. And I think there's another key to that. I think because our numbers are, as population wise, we have very small numbers. So we're kind of a sneaky vote. You know, they don't count on us. They don't have us in their data. We know this. We've looked at the data. So we do know that our numbers aren't there. So we come in, if we come in with a strong push, we're all of a sudden pushing numbers that were uncounted. And I love that.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And we have, like we said, and what you guys do with make voting a tradition is you're constantly tabling and signing up new voters and giving out cool T-shirts. By the way, oh hey, Haley's got one on.
I had to rep my new Make Voting a Tradition shirt. Shout out you guys. You guys are, like every.
This November.
All over Facebook. It's all over everywhere. You can't escape this. So it is a critical time for us to get out and really flex our power, which we have. I want every Native American to know that we do have power. We've just got to flex it, got to use it. And when we get out there, when we put ourselves out there, there's such a pride that comes with that, being a part of something that's bigger than you. I realize that this system was maybe not constructed in the way we would have liked to have it be constructed. It wasn't made for us in many ways. I realize that. I want to get beyond those facts. I want to build the pride and say we can do this and we will do this if we get out there and do it.
Right on. Hey, we're here with Derek DeLille, manager of Make Voting a Tradition, and we're going to be right back after this short break. Ho-wah.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Howl! This November, we have a clear choice for who's truly fighting for our Indigenous communities in Minnesota. Democrats created the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force, made college tuition free for Native scholars, and legally affirmed our Native sovereignty. By signing co-stewardship agreements to manage federal lands, we return the lands of the Upper Sioux State Park to the Upper Sioux Tribe and over 11,000 acres back to the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwa. This November, vote for the party that stands with our community. Vote Democrat.
Paid for by the Democratic Farmer Labor Party.
For everything you need to know about voting in Minnesota, visit the Secretary of State's website at mnvotes.org. Find out where to vote, check registration status, and view sample ballots. Again, for all your voting information, go to mnvotes.org.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Indigenous communities face severe threats from pollution impacting both the air we breathe and the water we cherish. Pipelines, mines, and waste incinerators near our homes lead to higher rates of asthma, diabetes, and heart disease. In the Twin Cities, Native and Black communities experience over twice the rate of asthma. Let's not forget that water is life. It's something we must protect as a vital resource and way of life. In Minneapolis, our vote helped close the Smith Foundry and bituminous roadways. Let's continue using our vote to fight for climate justice. Make Voting a Tradition, or MVAT, empowers Native communities by increasing voter turnout and supporting conversations about critical issues like clean air, water, and health. By getting involved, we shape the policies that protect our families and environment. Find your nearest polling location at sos.state.mn.us. Let's make voting a tradition for future generations. That's sos.state.mn.us.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 40, Saturday sunny with a high near 56, and Sunday rain with a high around 54. Craving authentic Szechuan and Mandarin flavors? Visit the Great Wall Restaurant for hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, sesame chicken, and more. Located at 4515 France Avenue South. For takeout, call 952-927-4439 or check out their full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, they do. Hey, we're here with Derek DeLille, manager of.
Arrested. A weak jobs report for October was offset by a boost in tech stocks. The markets finished higher. The Dow up 200.
Is reviewing life insurance on your
At 11 a.m. with your AM 950 weather. For more.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
It might be your first salvo across the bow. Just gonna say, because that's what Jesus would have done. 952-9.
Tuesday, join AM 950.
I've often said the RAV4 from Rudy Luther.
If you have a loved one who's in need of that's WellshireMN.com. Seward. Learn more at seward.coop.
Attention of
Hey, AM 950, this is JP Derber.
Here on your Friday. Friday.
And then there is also Queer World with
Turn to auto tech.
When addiction takes hold.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 46. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 40. And Saturday. That's for more.
The Electric Fetus is having a store-wide Halloween sale.
Hi, I'm Mary T.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry.
Ones you get.
Shambot Family Dentistry in
before us and what they were able to leave for us, but it's also our responsibility to listen to the generations younger than us and kind of help them build up the future, not only for us and what we're going to be retiring in, but their future for their kids and then their grandchildren. So it really is that 7 generation type of mindset. And I think that's a great opportunity to hear the most important information coming from our next generation.
Yep, I don't think there's a better way, and that was said so beautifully, Haley. That was just, I mean, that's the way we are programmed. We're just programmed that way. It's a DNA level, and a lot of people don't understand that. It's either there or it isn't. And for our Native people that we know, that we frequent and meet, for us, it's just that way. This is just the way we are. So knowing that and acknowledging that and using that to our benefit is not only doing us proud, we get to be pride filled from that, but we also always think back. You can see it in our paintings. You can hear it in our songs. You can hear it in our poems. We always look back, and our ancestors are somehow looking down, and they have that smile, and they're so proud of us. And then we have to do the work, which we're here to do. Creator gave us able minds and able bodies that we can do this work. And we're so proud to do what we do. I know you guys personally, both of you, and I know how proud you are to do your work. And I know you believe me when I say, I am so proud to do the work I do. That's a good beginning. And now we talk about that effect and how that spreads down to the children. We come out and the importance of being present at all events, if you can be. Come out showered. Come out freshly geared. Come out, rock your beads, put on your moccasins, do whatever you want so you can stand proud and watch the kids. They will look at you. They will watch you, and they'll listen. And we are the ones to show that future way. We are cutting that path. We know this. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody better for the job than me and you and you.
Yeah, here on that, and the young ones watch us, as you were saying, and just a good medicine that we bring in. I was thinking when you were saying that is that how important too to have somebody like Heather Keeler, state representative, and also State Senator Mary Kunesh and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. When I was teaching high school, I always made I always made sure that I told them how important it is that my kids can see somebody that looks like them in this role.
I agree fully. I think another strong suit of working for the organization that I work for is it always makes me think of art. That we do a lot of that. We work with artists. We nurture those relationships and we keep and hold those relationships, and all of that art depicts us, Native people, and how huge that is to be able to look in a space and say, wow, that's Native, that represents me. That is so huge. And I might have mentioned it on the last time I was on the radio, but the fact of the matter is I am from Minneapolis. I was here as a young man. I was just a young boy, and this stuff wasn't around. I didn't see these things. I didn't get to look up to powwow grounds. I didn't get to see that. There was much different things on the avenue them days. And so now to be able to see us more consistently is just a beautiful thing, and it is going to work for the kids. I know it. You can't break my belief on that. It will trickle down to the kids, and we're going to see more, and we're going to see more and more and more development.
Absolutely. And one of the things that as a teacher, I know for myself, I was a late bloomer, and it's not a race. And if we're consistent with our young ones, they will arise when it's their time. And I do truly, truly believe that you cannot force that, Derek.
Yeah, I absolutely agree there 100%. Me and my wife, we've got 7 between us, 7 children. I've got 2 grandkids now, and that's amazing to me. I'm 50 years old now. I don't know how that happened, but I'm here now, and I'm ready for it, I guess. But I do get to see that the generations and see this trickle down a little bit into the youth, and it's such a beautiful thing. And so I know if we can get things to move in that direction through the kids, then I gotta believe that make voting a tradition will be, it will be. It just will be.
What a great name too. And we got a minute left, Derek, and we really appreciate you stopping in on your busy schedule. I want people out there, we always talk about an action that our listeners can take. One of them is maybe to support Native American Community Development Institute or make voting a tradition. Could you just let our people know how to get a hold of you or how we can get more information?
Maybe even for all the other, the non-brown people. I remember Lake Street. Oh man, they came out after the riots and helped clean and all that good work, that good hard work. I wanted to say, where are you now today? We need you in the neighborhood today. We need you to support these businesses. We need you to walk these blocks and come visit us and see how awesome we are. We are an awesome people. We are an amazing people. You come to Powwow Grounds, you come to the Indian Center here, which I'm at right now, you will 100% be received well and treated very well. This is just the way we are. Come check us out. Come visit us. Come talk to us. Come build with us. Come develop with us. And, come help my program make voting a tradition.
Hey, Derek, Big Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for being on. What a great show, and you never disappoint. Thank you so much for being on.
Big with you guys, Penny Gigi, to both of you. I'm going to see you very soon.
You know that. Hey, Native Roots Radio, we'll be right back after this short break.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
This November, we have a clear choice for who's truly fighting for our Indigenous communities in Minnesota. Democrats created the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force, made college tuition free for Native scholars, and legally affirmed our Native sovereignty. By signing co-stewardship agreements to manage federal lands, we return the lands of the Upper Sioux State Park to the Upper Sioux tribe and over 11,000 acres back to the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwa. This November, vote for the party that stands with our community. Vote Democrat.
Paid for by the Democratic Farmer Labor Party.
For everything you need to know about voting in Minnesota, visit the Secretary of State's website at mnvotes.org. Find out where to vote, check registration status, and view sample ballots. Again, for all your voting information, go to mnvotes.org.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awakened. This is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Well, Haley, we could probably do terrible the rest of the show, and this would probably be one of the best shows we've had in a long time.
Hey, they're all pretty great, but I do have to give, a shout out to Derek DeLille and Lieutenant Governors Peggy Flanagan and Sarah Rodriguez of the state, Minnesota and Wisconsin. It's just amazing to hear, the new energy and the kind of like this new like fresh air and wind of hope for election season. And I think it's, we're able to see that pretty clearly from voters.
Yeah. Well, after our show today, there's a Women for Harris national organization call happening. Do you have any more information on that?
Yes. So this is a new Instagram page. It's called Natives for Harris. That's NATIVES, the number 4, and then Harris. You can follow them on Instagram. And they, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan was on that Native Women and Two-Spirit call last night for Kamala Harris that had guest speakers, Minnesota Lieutenant Gov, Representative Leish Koslowski, and others. Deb Holland. And there will also be another Zoom meeting tonight, July 29th at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time. This will be a special call hosted by the Democrats at the Democrats on Instagram and Kamala Harris. Hear from extraordinary women and get the latest updates from HQ, which is headquarters. Let's mobilize together to elect Kamala this November.
Hey, Haley, too, our president now,
Yes.
President Biden is doing some, it's like the governor's off, meaning, he is full speed ahead on speaking his truth. He's not running again, but, he does not think that there should be immunity for crimes for the president. No immunity, they're citizens too. And the Supreme Court is really put themselves in a bad position by doing that, because they know the Democrats aren't going to go off and do something crazy, whether it's something bad or illegal, and not pay the consequences. The Democrats are too nice when it comes to things like that. The Republicans seem to be doing and saying whatever they want and calling it truth when we all know they're lies. And so it's great that President Biden's bringing these things up.
Yeah. I think this is kind of like, Kamala's taking over the reins and, running for election, and President Biden's plan to reform the Supreme Court is, to ensure no president is above the law. So this means no immunity for crimes a president committed in office. There's no one above the law amendment. And then also term limits he is trying to set for Supreme Court justices.
That would be awesome.
That would be a game changer.
Well, and the sad thing too, Haley, and you being young, and I'm only using that as an example, you being young, we used to think that the Supreme Court was down the middle. They read the laws the way they were supposed to be and came out with good decisions that were good for the people. What's happening now, and especially with the clowns that the orange one put in, there's just an agenda, and there's not law. They're not reading the law. They lied. They could be taken off now for lying, saying that they would not change Roe. And I'm telling you, that's going to change this whole election.
Yeah, our Supreme Court has been very one-sided for a while here. President Biden's plan to reform the Supreme Court includes the president would appoint a justice every 2 years to spend 18 years in active service on the Supreme Court. 18 years. So how long can someone remain now?
Till they die.
Really? So there is no.
I mean, people have retired.
There's no limit.
People have retired and then shortly thereafter passed away. Yeah, there's no limit. It's for life.
Wow. Yeah. So that is, we need some limits on that. I just, have been seeing so many different memes and videos of how ancient our Supreme Court members are.
Yeah. Well,
and that just, it keeps us back in those generations, in those eras where there wasn't equality for everyone living in the United States. And this is definitely not a time or place to be going backwards in our Constitution at all, or making any of the same mistakes, which we should have learned from our ancestors and those who came before us in those generations. This is a time to be moving forward and not retracting laws that have been put in place to protect American people.
Exactly. Hey, we're so excited too. We talk about this on Native Roots Radio a lot, but to have a president like Kamala, coming up, somebody that looks like what this country will look like in another 20, 30 years, and I think she brings so much to the table, and I'm sure she's learned a lot. You don't stop learning, but becoming vice president and seeing how President Biden does things, and President Biden's been, in the game for 50 years. So this was all orchestrated in a good way right after Milwaukee, the RNC, and then the timing. And I'm sure he had all his ducks in a row before he supported Kamala, Vice President Harris. Yes. We are so excited. And I seeing the TikToks and then talking to you, donating money, that just brightens my day, and I think things are going to be all right.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of talk on the right side of, people are just voting for her because she's a woman.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, there hasn't been any, president that's been a woman, and look at where we are, like what kind of progress kind of women, women get stuff done.
Yeah.
And this has been proven on, many other political platforms. And
well, it's been proven on this show for many years.
Right. And then talking about our Native culture, we respect women, and, we're led by our matriarchs in our family. And it makes sense coming from a Native perspective.
Yeah. I'm just totally excited for the future. And, I'm going to have grandbabies here coming up Friday, twins that are going to be born, and going to be really excited about that. It'll be after the show, so I won't be able to be bursting, but I will be taking pictures and bursting in. I see my old friend Denise is on there, and Denise knows a lot about the trail that we've been on, and I want to say a big Pinigigi thank you to Denise that's listening in, and has been a good friend of mine since 1980.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't know I was alive that long, did you?
1980, right? But yeah, like you just said, we have our next generation in our family coming up. So that's why, this election means, a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. Well, again, we want to just thank everyone for listening. What an exciting show. And we're really excited about the future of this country. And the one thing too, that's really interesting and good is that when we put people in there with common sense, and we can push them more to the left, and they can listen. Just look at what Biden's done. He, in his presidency, he's more progressive than Obama was, and we loved Obama. So other than that Standing Rock little thing, but that's something that, the whole art of work and the work that he did for our people, we salute him. But We are great here, and this is Native Roots Radio. If you're listening to the show, you're part of the resistance from Chief Plenty Coops. The ground in which we stand on is sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestor. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, and vote. We're still here. We are the seventh generation.
And free Leonard Peltier now.
For nearly 10 years, Make Voting a Tradition has empowered Native American communities by bringing friends and families together to talk about important issues. NVAD is increasing voter turnout and ensuring Native voices shape the future. This election season, skip the crowd.